Welcome back to another episode of the E-commerce Revolution podcast. We are coming to you on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. My name is Ramin. I'm one of the managing partners at SKU Agency, and it is great to have everybody here today. Our goal for each and every one of these episodes is to both educate and entertain you on all things e-commerce. And yes, we do believe that we can entertain you on e-commerce. And I am really excited about today's episode. It's a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So let's get things started. This is just the beginning. If you're an e-commerce leader, you know how important email marketing and SMS marketing can be to your business. So for every dollar spent, you can expect to make approximately $42 using email marketing. I mean, that's a huge, huge number. And with over 3.9 billion smartphone users worldwide, and 64% of those users saying that businesses should text them more often, SMS is poised to be a leading form of marketing in no time at all. So with all that said, today we are excited to welcome two. That's right, two. We've never done two guests at the same time. Two incredibly talented guests from none other than Klaviyo, the leading email and SMS marketing platform. And Klaviyo is our go-to platform at SKU Agency, and we absolutely love it. And I'm not embarrassed to say that out loud. I'm going to say it 100 times. It is one of the best email marketing platforms out there. So one of our guests is a strategic account executive for the SMS division at Klaviyo and has helped over 300 businesses adapt to SMS. And our other guest was actually a Klaviyo customer before he became and joined the partnership development team at Klaviyo. I mean, come on. We've got two great team members from Klaviyo joining us today. This has got to be the best podcast we've done. I'm really, really, really excited. So let's get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please welcome Jack Binda and Hayden Baugh. Jack, Hayden, welcome to the E-commerce Revolution podcast. Great to have you here.
Yeah, great to be here.
Great. Where are you guys calling in from today?
Both in Boston.
Nice.
I'm in a neighborhood just south of Boston in Dorchester.
Nice. Hayden?
Yeah, as am I. Actually, me and Jack are kind of stone's throw from each other, so not too far.
Very nice. And I assume the whole company is essentially working remote mostly these days?
We are currently. Yep.
Great. But
yeah, we're
itching to get back to the office?
I think so, right, Jack? I think we got fingers crossed every day when we log on.
Nice. Oh, you're gonna get that notice at some point across the screen that says, "Get back into the office. Let's go."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're waiting for it.
I love it.
You can only stay in the house so often before you're like, you know what? I need to get back outside.
I totally understand it.
Right.
I think this is right for everybody. This is a whole new territory we've gone into. But I think, we're learning how to potentially maybe make it a hybrid situation where we can do a little bit at home as well as go back into the office and see everybody and high five and, get those business juices flowing again. So that's great. Well, before we jump in to the meat of the discussion, which is SMS and email marketing, I have a few little intro questions I'd like to ask you. So, Jack, what concert will you be going to for the sixth time? By the way, it must be, I think, a record in March.
John Mayer. I've seen him 6 times. I will travel most places to go and see him whenever he goes on tour.
Wow, what's going on with John Mayer? What's why? What do you love about him?
The deep tracks. Gotta love the deep tracks.
Nice. Favorite song? If you had to pick one?
In Your Atmosphere.
Oh. Wow. Okay. All right. I'll have to go and play that. I know some of his music, but definitely not like you. You must be like the ultra fan. Does he know about you, by the way? He must know about you.
I would hope so. That'd mean a lot to me.
And now
we got to get him a signature.
Yes. Got to get a signature. Now I got to ask you this. Does he use email marketing and SMS to engage with his fans at all?
He definitely does email. No SMS right now. So I have been reaching out, sending over some DMs to his personal Instagram. Nice. Don't think he's reading any of mine right now, but It's a numbers game.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, and Hayden, you mentioned that before joining Klaviyo, you were actually a customer. So tell us about that time. Tell us about the business that you were working on at that time, and what was it like? What was Klaviyo like for you?
Yeah. So actually, a friend we connected. I grew up on the Cape. He was a summer friend, so knew him for 3 months out of the year. And then he would go back home, and he just came up with this idea within the booming canned cocktail kind of movement that we're experiencing today. And he had this idea of like everyone's favorite brunch cocktail, the
Of
mimosa. It's
course.
super easy.
Yeah.
It's only a few parts, right? I think we can all at least say that we enjoy them in the morning. I think, other people can take them all day, but really moderate ABV, but like still really juicy, full balanced body, flavoring.
Hmm.
And we were kind of seeing a little lack of that between what the market was offering in seltzers and what have
Hmm.
you. So he went to work, and I was the number one hire right after we launched the company in June 2019.
Wow.
So he was the bare bones of the whole company. It was his thing. I had the opportunity to come on board and just help him launch it to market. So that was for 2 years. I ended up leaving 2021, February 1st. So I'm just coming up on my 1 year anniversary at Klaviyo.
Wow.
But prior to that, we had been diving into our ecom store, bringing all of our retail presence online.
Hmm.
So it was kind of really that like Klaviyo fitting customer story that we are always pitching.
Sure.
And that really stays so true to what we're doing here for merchants. But I was just blown away at after doing all of the research, like, wow, Klaviyo's market fit right now and what they're doing for during this pandemic, especially when everyone's online,
Hmm.
was super intuitive, very easy to use, and it really was tailoring the customer experience. And for us as a CPG brand online, like that was rolling dollars over for us.
Yeah. Well, what's
Saw an
tell
opportunity.
everybody the name of the brand? Let's give them a little shout out.
Yes. So a shameless plug,
Yeah.
but Ohza Mimosa.
Love
So
it.
OHZA Mimosa.
That's awesome.
There's a bit of a play on words.
Yeah.
So if you kind of string out mimosa, Oza. So check us out online. But yeah, shipping all around the country.
Yeah.
We're available also right now in like 12 states.
Great. Well, I'll check it out because who doesn't love a good mimosa? I mean, you've got Sunday brunch, especially if you're doing it at home. People aren't going out.
Yeah.
Why not do it correctly?
Absolutely.
And get a nice libation in there. So that's great. Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that story. And I love anytime, the concept where you've been using a piece of software yourself, and then you transition to, you have that wow moment, like, wow, this is amazing. Like this stuff really works well. And then you end up saying, you know what, I got to be a part of that brand. I got to go work for that company. I got to help them build. So no, it's I love stories like that. So now let's jump into the meat of the discussion: email marketing and SMS. And I want to dive first into the email marketing side of things. And let me take you back to 1971. Okay, this is my crack research that I'm doing here. 1971, I'm sure you guys weren't even born then, but that's beside the point. We'll move on from there. That's when the first known email campaign was sent out by an employee of Digital Equipment Corporation to 400 people on his list. I don't know how exactly he did it. I'm sure he just went to his email client at the time and probably did it because it was okay to do that back then, right? You could get away with that. But let me take, Hayden, let's take a step back. Let's jump into the future now, that back into 2022. What does email marketing look like from a campaign and automation standpoint?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, today we're seeing a lot of our customers, that are obviously they're getting more advanced as they send and reach out to their customers as it stands today. So automations is, what it's referred to universally, but at Klaviyo, we refer to them as flows. Those are really like a strict standpoint of, oh, like this customer, they were looking through all of our T-shirts and they really like these three and added it to their cart. But they never went through and actually checked out. So they would kind of be fleshed into that abandoned cart flow, if you will. And then there's a certain automation of separate campaigns and messagings that will be sent to the client. Now, the campaigns is really more of a blast out to your wider net, letting them know maybe about sales that you're going to have around a certain time frame, certain holidays that are coming up, and maybe some specific things that you're running for your business. but it really is flows you really want to look at as there's a lot more pinpoint experience for the customer rather than a campaign that you're kind of just sending the message out to your whole database.
Sure. That makes sense. Perfect. Appreciate that. And Jack, just tell me, just on average, based on, an understanding of what a campaign is, based on what Hayden just said and what a flow is, on average, how many campaigns should a merchant send out each month? Is there a number that, you like to preach to merchants out there? I know there's a number we like to, but what do you guys have to say about it?
Yeah. So just to clarify, are you meaning for emails or are you for SMS?
Yeah, well, this is first on talking through the email marketing side of things. Yeah, how many campaigns should merchants send out on the email marketing side?
Yeah, it depends business to business. I mean, if you're selling a T-shirt where it's a quick transactional sale versus if you're selling furniture like a couch, it might be a little bit different. But the sweet spot that we usually see is somewhere between 4 to 8 for most brands. Wow. So 1 to 2 times a week for email campaigns, letting them know about new products, new design updates, maybe sales that could be going on, qualifying for a VIP if you're doing any sort of loyalty programs and things like that.
Nice.
Happens to be the sweet spot for email.
Okay. So it really, at the end of the day, depends on the brand, right? Depends on what they're trying to say and what kind of messaging they're trying to get out there. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the more you send to a qualified list, the better, the more it helps your deliverability, right? At the end of the day, both with flows and campaigns. But, I see a lot of people fixated on flows now, and they start to forget about the campaigns, and you shouldn't, right? You should definitely not forget about your campaigns and continue to send them. So with that said about the campaign side of the email world, talk to me about flows. What is the go-to flow setup for a merchant starting out? What does it look like?
Yeah, for a merchant starting out, I'd recommend 3 flows. First one being the welcome series. When somebody signs up, you want to give them that discount. You want to get them so that when they're expecting that 10% off, they're able to use it. That's one of the highest revenue drivers for businesses across Klaviyo, simply because somebody is expecting this discount. And when somebody signs up, they're more likely to complete that purchase.
Okay.
Second one I would recommend is the abandoned cart. Huge. Getting those people that are closer to the finish line, making them cross over the edge. Maybe start with your first 2 emails, not leading with a discount. Try to get them in to pay full price. And then for that 3rd or 4th email, send that Hail Mary of that discount. Just trying to get them through the door, create that loyal customer. Because once they buy a product, you're more likely to have somebody become a repeat customer.
Sure. That's great. And the third one, go for it.
The third one I would just recommend is the post-purchase. Driving that engagement after a week, somebody's product's been delivered, reach out to them. Hey, would love for you to come back and leave a review on our website. Hey, we actually just released this product that is similar to one that you bought. We thought you might like it. And nurture them to go through and keep that conversation and keep your brand top of mind for them to complete another purchase from you.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And within those flows, just, on average, how many sequences, how many emails within those flows, and what's the separation? What do you guys recommend? Is it 3 days apart, a week apart? What's that time frame look like?
Yeah, usually a day to 2 days is usually about right. So that for that first email, maybe for the abandoned cart, you want to send one hour while they're top of mind. Maybe they just needed to walk their dog. They got a phone call, completely forgot.
Right.
Everybody's doing a million things. So get them while they're still hot. And then if they don't convert, then maybe send one another day later saying, hey, don't want you to forget this. You left these items behind. And again, try to get them to complete that purchase. And then if not, maybe wait another day or 2 and say, hey, flash sale, we're going to offer you 10% off for the next 48 hours. Go buy and complete it while this coupon is still valid. And then send one last email of a coupon reminder saying, hey, today's the last day that your coupon's going to be valid. Make sure to use it or it'll be gone and you'll have to pay full price. So driving that urgency within those time delays.
That's great. And, sometimes, there are some merchants out there that when we talk about flows, are like, wow, that's a lot of emails that go out. It seems like too much, but, it's always like, that is, you're sending to a very qualified, and it's a small list potentially, right? You've got somebody who just came in the door to the welcome series. It's not your entire list that you're sending to. So, it's a good, make sure people understand that, that the distinction between the two and how valuable. And you're right, the welcome series by far always does the best for most brands out there. Tell me, let's talk about length and copy. How much copy would you recommend? Let's talk about flows specifically, campaigns aside. How much copy would you put in there? Is it short and sweet? Do you guys recommend a lot of copy? What's the angle that you like?
I think a lot of the times, with more and more consumers that are now shopping online, I think we're in a digital age too, and social's pushing this as well, where we're so content driven. I think just like naturally, habitually, through our eyes just gravitate to what we see as interesting to us, whether that's actually the pictures themselves, the music and the imagery, the gifs, all these dynamic pieces of content that we can include in our SMS campaigns and flows, email. So it really depends what that looks like. But I know first and foremost, a lot of our customers are really content driven. And we really see that driving engagement, at least for flows and campaigns as they sit side by side, because at the end of the day, they're both messaging, marketing, collateral digitally that we're sending. And the second piece would be there's got to be a CTA in those. There has to be some sort of call to action that you're asking your consumers to act on. Again, driving more analytics for our merchants, so they can better suit their end customers and treat them with a better experience, but also drive more revenue.
Yeah, no, that CTA is incredibly important. And, sometimes, when we're taking on a new client and we go back and audit, maybe they've set up their own flows. It's amazing to see how many times they forget to put the CTA in there, or the CTA is not clear. And it's such a simple thing, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we need to tell people what to do and where to go. That's, simply put, what action do you want them to take? So Hayden, following up a little bit more on that, in terms of if I'm a merchant and I'm driving a consistent amount of traffic, I'm really working hard, maybe through SEO, PPC, social, to drive a lot of traffic to my site. Just tell me, just from an email marketing standpoint, what are some of the best practices that we need to put in place just to make sure this thing works correctly? Because obviously, if the traffic is coming in, we want to do a good job of capturing that traffic and doing something with it. What's your thought on that?
Absolutely. So as you're driving traffic to your site, let's say through those channels, PPC, SEO, you're really going to want to, have a really high engaging and high targeted sign up form. At Klaviyo, we have very super successful, two-step sign up forms that are asking, just very plainly put, whether they're visitors to your site, their name, their email, and then their number, and if they would like to opt into SMS marketing. So this is going to allow them, to sit at the top of that funnel. You're going to be able to figure out who they are. And, if they are giving us their information, they're opting in to learning more about your business, more about the products that you're offering. So that's first and foremost. And I know we see some super high engagement from those sign up forms. And we always advise all of our customers that is first and foremost once we start integrating and implementing Klaviyo, because at the end of the day, you're putting money into those other digital marketing practices, and we don't want to leave those leads untouched or that money on the table.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, let's say I'm driving all this traffic. I'm doing a great job. I've got forums. I'm capturing, whether it be email and mobile numbers for the SMS side of things. Just let's talk about the email. What percentage of my revenue should I expect to come from email marketing if I'm doing all these things correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen with a robust e-commerce store and a real solid digital marketing presence, you should expect around 30% coming from email. So that is what we see. Again, depends on the market, the products that the customer is selling, but I would say anywhere between 28 to 32% is really where we see a really healthy email program for our customers.
Yeah, and that's such a high number. Isn't that such a great number? I mean, I love going into our clients' reports, when it comes time for reporting and seeing those numbers, anywhere, 27, 28, 31, again, depending sometimes on the time of the year, but it is such an amazing, and I got to say, just at the end of the day, the analytics in Klaviyo, unbelievable. Like the fact that you can see on the flows, you can see every step, you can see what happened, you can see the analytics associated with it. That is, for merchants that are very busy and maybe have come to an agency, but just want to see it snapshot every day. So easy to look at, so easy to understand what's going on. I think it's amazing. So that's great. That's great. And I guess I would say if somebody is not seeing numbers like that, what would you tell them to do next? Rework the flows, send more campaigns. What kind of advice would you give them? Find an agency to help you? I don't know. What's the right angle there?
I think we should tell them to come to Skew Agency and get an audit of their account.
Shameless plug again. Wow, you're good at these shameless plugs. I love it, Hayden. Yes. Well, I mean, that is, we do set, goals in the beginning when we audit a campaign, when we audit a Klaviyo account, and we can see, there's an incredible lot of room, but it's also imperative that they continue to do those other things to drive traffic to the site, right? I mean, without traffic, you don't have people to sign up. I mean, yes, you can continue to work on your existing list, keep pushing that and keep, adding additional flows, but you really need that traffic, right? I mean, you got to have that traffic coming in. That's, so that's great. Well, let's dive into SMS and Jack, I know this is, your area of expertise. So you're going to be on the hot seat right now to answer a whole lot of questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready. This is what I do every day.
All right. Love it. All right. So can you share maybe a couple of stats on SMS that would make somebody get up off their seat after listening to this podcast and sign up right away and get SMS going for their business?
Yeah. So I have 3 that are top of mind for me that I tell any client that I talk to. And the number one for me is that over 75% of people would rather receive an SMS versus a personalized retargeting social ad.
Wow.
So I'm sure we've all been there where like you're talking about, I don't know, a vacuum, and then all of a sudden your Instagram, your Facebook, Google is now just showing you a ton of vacuum ads. And you're like, is my phone listening to me? I don't know how it does it, but it does it.
It is listening, Jack. It is listening.
Yeah. So like 75% of people, over 75% of people find that annoying and find that a little bit weird. Whereas if you were to just send them a text of what's going on instead of having to say, hey, like this vacuum's on sale, like you can use that predictive analytics that you're using for Google, Facebook, and just redirect it directly to your consumers through SMS.
Okay.
So that's like a big one on like just when people are always saying, oh, my customers don't like SMS, my customers don't prefer it, they think it's too much of a channel. It's people think the same thing about retargeting.
Sure. Yeah. What's happening? It's happening, right? I mean, I think a lot of people don't know. They just assume that their customers are not going to like it or they're not going to be happy with it, right?
Yeah. And it's one of those assumptions that you'll never know if you don't try. Sure. And you can A/B test it within Klaviyo. Like demographics change, like older demographics prefer email. They check their email more often. But the other stat is 90% of text messages are opened within the first 3 minutes.
Wow.
And this has been huge.
Love that.
This has been huge for inventory problems. Companies across the world are having inventory problems with things being stuck. They're stuck on ships. They can't get it in time. Items are sold out. And if you want to text your most loyal customers to say, hey, this item's back in stock now, get it, because we don't know how long it's going to take for us to restock it again.
Right. And, to your point, out of stock, incredibly back in stock, all of those messaging, that's SMS is immediate. It's, that phone's with you 24/7, right?
Exactly. It's and nobody likes those little red icons. I mean, I'm an iPhone guy. Nobody likes those little red icons. So you open it pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny. It is true. You don't like to see it's as opposed to email, which you're okay looking at your inbox and maybe having 20 emails in there. You're like, I know what they are. I'll get to them. I, prioritize. Maybe you star them if you use, Google Mail. But you don't like those in SMS. It's a very interesting concept. And it's funny. I'll tell you this. Maybe 2 years ago, I wasn't necessarily jumping up and down about SMS. just as a consumer, I'm like, I don't want it's an intimate, right? It's a very intimate experience. And I didn't want that. I'm all in the other way now. It's more about convenience to me. And that's how I look at it. And I think merchants should, embrace it from that standpoint. It's different than email. It can complement in many ways, but it is different. And if you're trying to move things, that's the way you move them. Get them in front of people's faces quickly. So that's good. That's
Exactly.
That's an important thing. So hopefully after that, any other stats that you want to throw out there?
I just want to echo one thing that you just said too, is like, when it comes to SMS being like a convenience for you, like, I think it's very important to distinguish that you can use SMS and email together. So, example, they sent an email saying, hey, this one's not back in stock, but they also had your phone number. They should have said, hey, this person hasn't opened their email. We know they're in the market for a third cabinet. Send that person a text then. So that way you're using that full omni-channel marketing, and you're not just solely relying on one funnel versus the other funnel. They should be working together and complementing each other.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So it's not a situation where it's this or that. It sometimes can be both of them working together. That's great. So talk to me a little bit just in terms of the sign up. Your background, Jack, Privy, before Klaviyo, obviously one of the, big, leaders in the email capture or the communication capture form standpoint. What's the best practice if I'm a merchant doing both email as well as SMS? What's the best practice in making sure I get both an email and an SMS without annoying the customer?
Yeah, exactly. The key part is not annoying a customer. If it's my first time on a website and I see a sign-up form that has both email and SMS required in there, there's a lot less likelihood that I'm actually going to subscribe for that, even if the discount is crazy good.
Sure.
Again, email is not as intimate. SMS is very, very intimate. I'm not going to give it just to any brand, especially if it's my first time. So what we want to do is create a multi-step sign-up form. A multi-step sign-up form would just show the email first. And then after they put in the email, you could say, hey, do you want to take an additional 5% off? Do you want to join our VIP club? Do you want to get text notifications of items back in stock? Things like that, where you can actually go through and let that consumer or that customer choose their preferred method. You don't need to force them to put one way or the other. And then you got to take the low-hanging fruit too.
Sure.
What we recommend is going through and creating some sort of list or segment and say, for anybody who's purchased from us before, been active on the website in the last 60 days, or have clicked on an email or in the last 60 days, these are customers that are engaged with your content. Next time they come onto your website, ask them for their phone number. Be like, hey, we really appreciate your loyalty. Like, you actually get 10% off your next order for being a VIP customer. Just put in your phone number. And now you're capturing that low-hanging fruit of those really engaged customers that are already signed up for your email.
Nice. That's great. That's great. So I do like that because, yes, they may not engage with the two-step form, right? They may do the first part. At least you have their email, and then maybe a follow-up down the road to get them back in, because I think people warm up to it. I mean, I don't know, Hayden, do you how are you getting a lot of text messages now from companies, and how receptive are you to engaging with those text messages? Is that a thing in your world?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a thing in my world because I understand the back end and at least, the operations and infrastructure behind the reasons why. And I think as consumers too, we're always like, why are they calling me? Why am I getting this text? But when you start to understand it, it becomes a little less invasive. But again, that's just me living in the ecom world. I think one of the biggest misconceptions that we are hearing and experiencing from merchants and who are owning and operating their businesses online is just I'm already emailing them, in these flows, let's say a couple times a week, couple times a day, whatever it is, but pertaining to their campaigns and or their flows. I don't want to be texting them. And really what we started to explaining is that these customers are opting in. They want to hear from you. They want to be top of mind. Like Jack was just pointing out, like, they're VIP customers of yours. They're loyal to that brand and they want to be an ongoing customer. So it's our responsibility from the merchant from the business owner to keep that line of communication and foster that relationship with that paying customer. And I think that pays dividends as it pertains to activating and pertaining their SMS channel.
That's great. That's great. Well, I know, I mean, most of this, has been about email and SMS, but I guess we should just touch on push as well. I mean, because that is part of what's going on. Klaviyo, could either one of you, kind of speak to the push side of things and what that world looks like for a merchant and what they need to do to make push work for them?
Yeah. So I've done push for a couple of my clients, not too many, but basically how push works is if you have an iOS app for your shop, like I have the Lululemon app on my phone. I shop there way too much strictly because of their push notifications.
Nice.
They're always releasing some sort of new design, and they're saying they put out a push notification saying, hey, I bought these joggers. We got a new color in. Make sure to get it because, again, they sell out fairly quickly. They have inventory issues as well. So they drive notifications through push of new product releases, flash sales, which they rarely do. So when it's a flash sale, you want to be notified right away, similar to an SMS.
Okay. So you need that that app, the component, and that's where companies like TapCart jump in, where they can essentially create an app version, an actual bona fide app, not a this is not just a simple mobile version. It's a bona fide app, gets pushed up to the iOS App Store and to Google Play. But if you have that, then you can start to leverage the push marketing side of Klaviyo, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And you can go through, and the ideal scenario is to have all three running and not be annoying in all three channels. Since you can consolidate all of that data under one, you could say, hey, this person hasn't clicked an email and they haven't clicked an SMS in 6 months. Why are we still sending to them when they're buying from push notifications on the app?
Great
and vice
point.
versa. Like this person hasn't bought from the app in 6 months, but every time we send them a text, they click the link. Like go through and double down on text. You can have all of this consumer data behavior under one roof and start using it all in a cohesive way where you're not annoying the customer and you're giving that person the right message on the right channel.
Well, that's a great point. I mean, I'll say this, that, when I was preparing notes for this presentation and this podcast, we were just talking through some questions and the word annoying did actually come up, like, being very careful. And we're very cognizant when we're doing this for clients, because that question always comes up, I don't want to annoy my customers. I don't want to send them this and that. So I love the, that concept. And it's definitely something we do, looking at the data and saying, you're right. If they're looking at SMS, why are you sending them these? Because they don't care about the email anymore. Give them what they want. Go, in the world of, I guess, omnichannel, best way, go to where your customer is. Give them the information that they need, where they are, and where they love to most receive it. So, no, fantastic. I love that, and Hayden, to the point about the sign up forms in Klaviyo, super easy, just well thought out forms. It's all about conversion, right? It's all about getting those people in, and you guys do a really good job of making sure those forms, and then then agencies like ours come in and we'll gussy it up some more, put in the right, put in the imagery, maybe branded imagery that client is looking for. So I think that's just awesome. So I'm just curious, just in terms of compliance, let's go back to SMS for a moment. This is an area that comes up a lot. This is a question that comes up a lot, compliance and SMS. We don't need to worry about it as much in email, although there are rules and regulations that are in place for email, but they've been around for quite a while. Let's talk about the SMS compliance standpoint and how does Klaviyo help with that, and what should merchants know about compliance? Either one of you.
Yeah, great question. So Klaviyo will go through and will take any client that is federally legal. So examples of things that are not federally legal, CBD, marijuana, things like that, Klaviyo cannot take, as well as any sort of like sex or drugs, paraphernalia. Right. Like we can't do that as well, again, because it's a lot different age gating.
Yeah.
But compliance is built into the product for Klaviyo. So you're not going to need like a lawyer team. You're not going to have to go through and worry about it. Since Klaviyo does everything on the profile level, we can say out of your newsletter list, say there's 10,000 people in it, we can say we know that, since it's based on the profile, that 5,000 of them are consented to receive SMS marketing.
Okay.
And you can just send to your newsletter list. So you don't have to create new lists or segments based on SMS only to stay compliant. We will not allow you to send to anybody who does not have a timestamp of SMS consent associated with their profile.
Okay.
When it comes to unsubscribes, things like that, Klaviyo, similar to email, we will not remove any data, but we will take them to the unsubscribe rate. So you can see that at one point they were subscribed for SMS. You can try to re-engage them through sign-up forms again, or maybe through email, so you can use that data to your benefit. But that's all done on the back end. And then same thing, if you were to look into our products and go into the designer, we have things that you can toggle on and off, which means that it's not required. And then things that are forced to stay on, which they are locked, which means that they are required. So it's just built into the product, and we do it. And that's the sole reason why we do it on the profile level. Same thing for email.
Yeah, no, I love that, because, that's the last thing a merchant wants to worry about. If they're coming to an agency like ours to build out, their whole email marketing and SMS and maybe even push, we're not lawyers. We're not going to make, we're not going to make compliance decisions. But the fact that it's already, that process is already baked into the platform itself is a big relief, and it's something we talk about a lot, because that question does come up more often than not. So it's great. Love that you guys focus on it. And does it change? I think I know the answer to this, but as you get into other countries, let's say you decide you want to start selling in Canada. There are different rules, right, in Canada in terms of SMS, and then you move into the EU, which is probably very strict, right?
Yeah. So it all will automatically go through and stay compliant. So if you were to send a message to these 5,000 people, say 2,000 of them are in the EU, they have to have a separate message of an unsubscribe with a link that is just required by their GDPR. So we'll automatically go through and do it based by domain. So wherever they signed up from, or their phone number, and we'll say, okay, we know that this is a +44, that's EU. We're going to make sure that we send them the follow-up email with the GDPR compliant language in the second message. So it automatically does that for Australia, EU, Canada, and the US.
Fantastic. Well, that makes it so much easier, right? I mean, expansion into another country is got a lot of hurdles in so many other places in your e-commerce business. You don't need another one. You just it'd be great to just go through there. So Hayden, tell me, you've been at Klaviyo for a while now. You've run your own, been part of another business that was utilizing email marketing. Were you doing SMS back then as well, or was it just were you just relying on email marketing?
We were not. We were leaving money on the table. We did not have that baked into our program. It was definitely something that we were, again, diving into due to the pandemic. Didn't know that there was money to be made there. So really figuring out the tech stack and what everything looked like, and then getting up and running on email was like first and foremost. But I will say they are using SMS now today, which is great.
Yeah, and by the way, they have a beautiful site. That site is incredible.
Thank you.
Amazing site.
I didn't design it, but professionals like you guys did.
Yeah,
so kudos.
Appreciate that. And just to full disclosure, we didn't do it, but I think Hayden's just passing a compliment off to us. I appreciate that.
There we go.
So tell me, just Hayden, in terms of where you see email marketing and SMS going in the next 5, maybe 10 years, what does it look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. Actually, me and Jack were talking about this a couple days ago.
Wow.
Just as kind of,
I was listening, by the way, just so you know. I have that.
I think going down the road, we're really looking at, and I think merchants are as well, it's just like the younger demographic, right? So it's like what's working today isn't going to be working in 10 years. And I think, again, like speaking to what should be included in your flows and campaigns. Like, I think we're in a culture right now that's very content heavy and super fast transactions. One of the things I did learn super quick, especially at my last company, was you want to make the buying process as seamless and as easy as possible for consumers across the board, no matter what vertical or segment that you're operating in. The buying process needs to be seamless. So I think we're heading in a direction of SMS. Our phones are always with us. I think there's certain connotations about email. Email is amazing. There's no world we're going to live in that email does not exist as part of that strategy. But I think we might see the paradigm shift a little bit in terms of what channel is attributing more revenue for you as time goes on.
Nice, nice. And Jack, just tell me, without obviously passing on any company secrets or anything, what's in the pipeline? What are changes, additional enhancements coming to SMS and to the email, to the way Klaviyo looks and how it operates? Anything in the future that you know of that you can share?
Yeah, so we're actually going through, and a big initiative for Klaviyo is SMS. As to Hayden's point, like the younger demographic, like you ask my parents how much they check their email, they're gonna say like 6 times a day.
Right.
You ask my like 18-year-old cousin who checks his email, or like how often he checks his email, he's probably gonna say like once a day, if that.
Yep.
But you ask him about his phone, he's on it. You can't even get it away from him.
Right.
So a big initiative of Klaviyo is to double down on SMS, as we have seen great results, especially because of this Black Friday, Cyber Monday season with the pandemic happening. Email inboxes were flooded. Email still works, but SMS is that great breakthrough channel.
Yeah.
So we're releasing some more customer support integrations. We're going through and doing some enhancements and some new product releases that I think people will find very attractive and make their lives a lot more easy. I can't technically give those out yet, as they are still behind the white tape.
Yeah.
But end of Q1 for the Klaviyo product announcement, everybody should tune in.
Great.
Because it'll be a lot of new features that are coming out within the next couple weeks.
And I'm sure that's when Hayden's going to send me an email to book a time to discuss anything and everything new. So good. All right.
Revolutions. Absolutely.
I love it. Well, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I can't say enough about, just the world of email marketing. And I love that SMS, and I love that Klaviyo is doubling down. I mean, SMS, again, 2 years ago wasn't, jumping up and down. Now I'm expecting it, and make my life a lot easier. If you told me that something's coming back in stock or something's going to be, delayed or whatever it is, because yes, I have my phone with me 24/7. I'm trying not to look at it 24/7. and my son is one of my kids, he's 12. All right. And he has his phone now. And yes, that is how he email. I don't think he even checks it.
Yeah.
It's all about, it's all about SMS. So I think, you guys are building continuing to build an incredible platform, and we love being a part of this. So I appreciate you guys, sharing your wisdom with us today. But before we wrap all this amazing, this entire conversation up, you mind doing a little rapid fire questions so we can get to know you even better? You good with that?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Well, let's start off, Jack. Let's start off with you, and tell me what gets you excited to wake up and tackle the day.
I actually love waking up and talking to like new businesses, just like hearing their stories. Similar to what Hayden was saying, where it's like hearing different outlooks on what's working, what's not working. And like, that's something, there's always new people to meet. There's always cool, unique stories, cool brands that you've never heard of that I've shopped from after working with them, being like, wow, I came on their website. This is an awesome brand. Like, I'm going to go through and actually like buy a shirt or a sweatshirt from them. So I love just meeting up with new people, hearing their advice, hearing their life stories, how their brand started.
All right. That's great. That's great. And Hayden, same question. What gets you excited to wake up and tackle the day?
Yeah. I honestly really love working with our partners here. Like, they are amazing. And that's not an easy way out of the question, but it really is awesome to work with so many partners. And I think they all come from different walks of life, working at a 500-person agency, all the way down to maybe a single man shop, and they're just delegating their resources to whatever their immediate physical area where they live. So I really get excited about working with our partners and then, our mutual beneficial customers.
Well, I'll say this, you're always available and you answer emails so quickly. You do check your,
Thank you.
So I know you check your inbox.
I check my email.
So you were checking, and Jack, you've been, just throwing numbers at us and ways of doing things, just looking at things differently. Sincerely appreciate, that part of it. Now let's get into something even more fun. Talk to me about your drink of choice, Jack. What's the drink of choice in the morning? What does it look like?
I am a very basic New Englander. I live right across the street from a Dunkin' Donuts. I get a large iced mocha black every morning.
Nice. So you're like they know you well over there, don't they?
They do. They have it ready at like 8:15 every morning.
Oh,
so
you gotta love that. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Some Boston hospitality.
That is awesome. And Hayden, it's not the mimosa, right? You're not doing the mimosa in the morning, are you?
So no. I was going to say no, not Monday through Friday. Right. Saturday morning though, I might treat myself to an Ohza though.
Love it.
But other than that, yeah, I'm just like Jack, just a regular New Englander, some water and a black cup of coffee.
Wow. Do you know how many people, so we've done, we're now 8 or 9 podcasts in. Almost everybody has said black. And I will always reference this one, Jack Johnson from Loyalty Lion. He does a coffee with oat milk. He called it a bougie coffee, which I thought was the greatest term I've ever heard in my life. And I thought, so that's how I do with oat milk, and I'm like, man, I'm doing a bougie coffee, I guess.
You're not alone, though.
Absolutely. So tell me now, both of you, and Jack, let's start with you first. If you weren't doing the job you're doing now, what would you be doing?
Ooh, good question. I would like to go through and do something in like the entertainment industry of like scheduling dates for like bands or things like that.
John Mayer, right?
John Mayer, yeah. I don't know. I love the fact of like that job. Like you're getting to meet a lot of cool people and like also celebrities, but you also get like a ton of traction in seeing like, wow, I set up this awesome event and like it all came to fruition, and the satisfaction of looking at what would be just a bland stage and turning it into a big event would be awesome.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a very unique one. Hayden, what about you? If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what would you be doing?
Yeah, I would still be at Ohza. I would still be working at my the other company. It was so much fun and just experiencing something from the ground up and see it come to fruition to what the founder, my friend Ryan, has built and the rest of the team there. So I'd imagine I'd still be there, just
nice,
just hammering it home.
Yeah, and bestowing more wisdom on the SMS side as well, getting them to push even harder and faster and more, more in that direction. That's awesome.
Keep building.
All right, so last question here. What is your go-to SaaS software, whether it be an app or something on the desktop? Can't use Klaviyo. Can't answer Klaviyo. Okay, and there's got to be something besides that. Jack, what's your go-to software?
Go-to software would probably be HubSpot.
Ah, nice.
Just they have so many different things. Obviously, I would choose Klaviyo as my number one, but second
goes without saying.
Yeah, second would be HubSpot. You can do a ton. It's a great CRM. You get great predictive analytics on buying behaviors. They do have an email tool. They have the chatbot scheduling meetings to like talk with clients. You can do a ton of different things with HubSpot.
Yeah,
the difference is obviously
we're vetting HubSpot right now. Great tool, and I can't believe it's taking me this long to get in there. I'm like, wow, what have I missed all these years? This is a great tool. Does Klaviyo use HubSpot internally? Is that your CRM system, or is this just something that you use yourself?
That's just something that I used at a separate company.
Gotcha.
And it was fairly easy to use from like in the back end.
Yeah.
But if you want a better CRM and you want better emails and you want better SMS, you go to Klaviyo.
There you go. Nice. Well said. Hayden, what's your go-to SaaS software?
Yeah. To be honest, I have to say, as far as my day-to-day is concerned, I use Gong, the call recording
nice.
system, a ton. again, having talks with our partners all day, I sometimes miss things. So I have to go back and listen to those, and I find little helpful nuggets within our conversation that really help me out and thus help them out. So I use Gone quite a lot. I really like it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, yes, when you do a lot of Zoom calls, as we all are, it's so easy to forget things. And I'm not a good note taker. I do not use pen and paper well. I do not use my tablet well. I do not write well and talk at the same time. I just can't pull it off. So having something record, turn it into a transcript, pull out the highlights, flag things. I mean, those tools are just incredibly valuable, especially in this day and age that we're in.
It helped me practice too for this, because it wasn't easy just jumping right in. You want to reach out and grab them. So get you a little more familiar.
I love it. I love it. Well, when I said at the top that this is my favorite, I mean, I love talking about email marketing and SMS. I could talk about it all day long. I know our time is limited. I want to be respectful of your time. So I appreciate you guys both coming on, Jack and Hayden. The information is valuable. We're going to get this up there. We want merchants to listen to it. Merchants to go check out Klaviyo, reach out to you guys, reach out to us, however you do it, it doesn't matter as long as you do it, I think, at the end of the day. So to both of you, thank you for making the time today. And if you just take a minute, maybe just tell everybody how they can find Klaviyo, as well as maybe reach out to you guys individually if that's what you'd like to do. Go for it.
Yeah. You can find Klaviyo at klaviyo.com. You can go on to the product page and request the demo, or get any good blog posts and use some case studies to base it how you might use it on your industry. And if you want to talk SMS, you can find me directly on LinkedIn at Jack Binda. And then my email, you can DM me. Everything is open there to the public. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about your brand or business or case studies that you're looking to get on there.
Beautiful. We'll put those in the show notes. And Hayden, anything you can add to that?
Yeah. You can find me at hayden.baugh@klaviyo.com. It's my personal email. Would really love to connect with any customers that are looking to chat with us a bit further about our platform, but also any current SIs, developers, agencies, consultants, anyone interested in maybe learning a bit more about our partnership program here, feel free to email myself or partners@klaviyo.com.
Great. No, love it. Love it. And, I think that, the interesting, I love that you guys put your, personal information out there too. That's very, very nice of you. And we'll put all of that, as I said, in the show notes. We'll link to everything so everybody can find. And in fact, I was just listening to NPR the other day and I heard a Klaviyo ad. So you guys are doing some NPR, NPR sponsorship. I don't think they call it advertising. I think they call it sponsorship, right? That's some kind. So that's cool. I mean, that's a great audience, I think. So not just because I listen to NPR, but I think it's just overall a good audience out there. I think it's a very good audience to try to reach out to. So thank you very much again. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And this brings us to the end of another episode of the E-Commerce Revolution podcast. This was a great, great episode filled with amazing tips and insights on both email marketing and SMS. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and review us wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you very much, everybody. See ya. If you enjoyed this episode of the E-Commerce Revolution podcast, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube or drop us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you very much.